Hello everybody. Um Another video here. Um I will title this video the twin flame, the beginning of the illumination stage of the parts that you as a twin flame begin to understand what's really going on into. I had a lot of questions that coming up right now over the Christmas idea why one day I'm okay, on the next day I'm all crazy. What's going on with this part? What's going on with that part? Why are we shifting mood so much? What's going on with this? Why do I feel him? Why do I feel her? Why I think this is what happens in them? Why I think that happens in them? So there is a lot of things actually you don't understand that happened at the beginning. Specifically during the very first meeting, the very first, the ignition state actually ignites more things that we understand within the beginning. The ignition stage is actually creates the connection within soul, which is the soul marriage. That is the part that the soul already married. What have to do is they have to overcome the old system of the man-made marriage to be demolished and destroyed. So the soul marriage to be exist the way it was made for it. That's why the connection between twin flames cannot be just evaporate. Cannot be just you can't just take him out of you. So in order for you to understand it a little bit in more simple way, so I cannot make the things complicated, I picked up the symbols of yin and yang, of what's going on, so you can understand it better, what's going on inside of you. And during the ignition state, you realize that's them. But I want to enforce this part. If you have not, go ahead and tell them I love you, or they have not told you I love you. You haven't begin the part of really going on into the twin flame. You still and that after ignition state stuck. You're not moving. You're not going anywhere. I'm getting a lot of people that all of a sudden you're feeling mad at your twin. I'm like, okay, what are you getting mad at him? Okay, what's the story? Well, we met. That is the story, and he left, and I left, and okay. Did you guys speak? Well, we speak a little bit, but we mostly speak like a friends. Okay. Did you tell him you love him? No. Ah, why? Well, he knows. Hold on. Did you tell him you love him? Well, no. Why? Why not? What happened? What is the story? And this is the part of this ignition state is you to learn that the journey on the soul, it's all about you to be your truth. You to be your truth, first of all, for yourself, in front of yourself, from your soul. That's how you say, yes, I recognize what's going on, I recognize what the situation is, I'm expressing myself. So I will give you just little advice before you getting mad to your twin and fight and begin these battles of the ego. Go ahead and tell them the truth that you love them, because you may do all those fights for nothing. You're just gonna hurt each other. So if you cannot watch the videos of Battle of the Ego, I really recommend those videos for you, and I will go quickly over it so you can actually understand that the battle of the egos that goes on a material world when you create the separation Actually, the battle of the egos is also exist within the 5D communication after the ignition state. After the ignition state, let me just to begin up here first. So this is the yin yang symbol. That is the part before you and your twin to become awaken, ignite. Before they feel you and you feel them, before this magnetic line of recognition is put it together, you are two separate identity that live on the same earth. You decide it comes in into it without realizing of what the situation is. As you see it as the traditional yin yang, there is no white dot here, there is no black dot here. You'll see it down the road of the part of the evolution. That is the part when the twin flames they meet actually into the real world, and they have this magnetic power that puts them together. Those are the pieces when a day comes in together. Somehow, some way, the universe, God, however you want to perceive that part inside of you, put the two pieces together. And if you haven't understand this part, is how that it's created in the Bible. It's very much explained it of it. That is the key of David. That whatever God opens the door, no man can shut. And that is the part that when the two twin flames are meet, there is no way you can escape out of that. That is a beyond your control. That is in the soul level, and that ignition is in the soul level. When it begins, it's a very interesting bubble love. It's a very interesting power that goes on between the two individuals. They feel each other, they understand each other, they know they have something in common. But what's happening, what they know, what they have in common of it is this. When they begin to evolve, they begin to spin, they begin this inner power of the fight inside of them into it. And that fight comes up is explained here within the warriors. And they like, okay, you trying to evade my own space, and the other is like, you trying to evade my own space, my own privacy. What the hell? Who are you? And all of a sudden you begin this part of fights. And when you begin this power of the fights, the ego is it's triggered. Instead to understand that this is a very powerful connection within love, you begin to look at it from the very old perspective of material world. And that bothers a lot of people. That it's like, oh my God, what is wrong with this thing? I need to stay away from it. But during this battle of the ego, during this ignition stage, so the process already began of working on the journey of unification. And during the spin in that part, there is this spark between the two of them, and that spark is right here in the middle. During the spark, it begins the part of soul spinning. So they spin so fast they can't handle the energy, and the one decides the bolt out. The one who decides the bolts out is the one who already gives his power inside. That it's known as the runner, and the owner, who is a chaser, wants to get his part back. So what they're going to look after this battle, right now they're looking exactly like this. The most known part of yin yang, and that's how the twin flames are. So during the separation stage of it, after these battles of the egos, they get separated on it. After the battle of the egos, they basically begin to understand the other side, because the other side is inside of them. And this is the process I am going to talk to you now. Now there is a you and them inside of you, but there is a little portion of them inside of you. And you feel them all the time with you. If you don't have a 3D communication, you can't really think that that is the actual part of how they live, how they react. That is the part of you have to understand. That is the part of your twin that you have to work on it, and you have to walk into the journey to find the peace. At the same time, they have to figure it out the part of have the peace within you. They have to learn to coexist with you. The same part, you have to learn to coexist with them. And what happens is one day you are perfect with them because you solved the one issue, and the next day you're like, come on, I have to solve another issue, another problem. And if you compare that to the traditional relationship, you go and you talk to your husband or your wife, and you help them with one issue, and all of a sudden there is a new issue coming up. And you're like, come on, I just worked this out. Can I have a little break? And you get these aggravations inside of you that constantly you work, you do this part. And one day you're okay, the next day you became an aggravated with your twin. And the part is that you still somehow, some way want to steer the journey, to control the journey. You're trying to tell your twin how to react, the way to react, without figuring out the consensus inside of you. And the biggest problem I've seen within a twin flame right now is that inner part, the inner consensus between the portion of them inside of you, you don't find this inner peace. You continue fighting the part of coexistence. You continue blaming that they don't want to come to you, they don't want to be with you, they don't want to have nothing with you, they don't want to. Well, guess what? You don't want to work with this part of them. You don't want to completely, unconditionally accept them as who they really are. You don't accept that part inside of you. And when you don't accept that part, you don't surrender to that part, you continue to have these inner fights. And those inner fights reflect you to learn of the separation stage of how you two are. If you look at this illustration, by the way, it's very good. That represents the sun, the masculine. Here it represents the moon and the feminine. But how you look at it, they look at it in two different directions. And this is looking at in two different directions. They are going into their separate way without realizing that there is no separate way. They still one. And your realization process should be focused of, okay, we are one. I'm accepting you. I finally want to accept you of who you are, the way you are, the part of me that is inside of you. It's for you to learn about me, about how I am. And I understand that the part of you is inside of me, so I can learn about you. The only reason you do this part is to reach the inner peace within soul. That inner peace between the two individuals is to be reached in soul. Because that inner fight of you fighting the old meant man-made marriage, okay, you have this ability of, I'm not worried about it, I don't care about it, I don't want to have nothing about it, and last less than 24 hours. And after 24 hours, here we go, they come in again strong, even stronger. And you have no capabilities of fighting this process. That process is an assault. You can't just go ahead and abandon that process. And a lot of you don't understand that. You need to find this inner peace with the part of them inside of you. Not to focus on the real three-dimensional part, but you need to focus on the part that it's inside of you. You to merge with them, with the part that it's inside of you, and reach the peace. That peace, that process of peace will be rich inside of the soul when you finally are tired of the fights. You have the scars of those battles. You are tired of these enormous inner fights inside of you. And when you completely surrender that part, the fight for it, the way, the will you to steer it, the journey, the way you think you control your own destiny, you find this part of yourself of trust, surrender, and let go deep into that part between you and them. And that inner fight of the egos on soul level will end. Your part of this day to day will become become less frequent. You're gonna go back to the time where you sleep. You're gonna become back into the time when you feel in peace inside of you. You're gonna go back to the place of how you reach that part of existence. But now there is gonna be some differences. What the differences are? Now you already embody the combined part of the soul with them in your own body. You gonna be find yourself completely different, more powerful, more ready to do what you needed to do. You finally will come to this stage that doesn't matter what's going on, you going to be waiting your real destiny to be revealed in the front of you, and to continue doing what you need to do. And that part of inside of it, that peace part, when it comes in, it will reflect the both individual, because you have to do this inner work. 99% of the work of the twin flames, it has to be done on a single level, not together. And this is why it's the beautiful part of the separation, is that you have to work on yourself. You have to go back, and during this separation, do the realizations. As you look at it here, he's doing his realizations out of what's going on. He's not looking for her. She look in the sky. Why did this happen to her? What's going on? Why did this journey happen all of a sudden? She gets her the guidance. He gets his guidance. By working together, they realize the part of the same thing. And that is the process of illumination. When both individuals, they're gonna do the inner work separately on their own of what is going on. When you do that inner work inside of yourself, you're gonna reach that peace. And that's what's gonna help you to stop this duality, to stop the bipolar effect inside of you, to stop these confusions inside of you. You're gonna become completely different now. You're gonna be more. Your intuition inside of you is gonna be very powerful, very strong. Um, the concentration level, you're not going to need it. All you need to do is you're going to trust your feelings. You begin this power of inside of you that you're just going to know the things that are coming up, and that is a the gift that you're going to get, because you beginning to understand what is the full power of embody the soul with the portion you merge with it. And of course, the part is you're gonna have the visions of the twin flames. This is actually a very good explanation of here. Um, if you look at it, that is the part of the flames on the top, because the flame exists in the world, it's the sun, but also the flame exists inside of him. And that is the part of the ignition process into. This is picture has a very incredible symbolizations onto that. When you are in a twin flame journey, you will realize of what's it's going on. I mean, I don't have to tell you, but the pigeon on the top represents the Holy Spirit, the God part, the guides and guarding the twin flames over the top, and helps them to they can be understood. They can understood the process of inside of them. Um, the sun inside of him represents the living spirit inside of it. That is the part of the sun. If you look at it, the sun up here, there is two of them, the larger and the small one, the light. That is the part of the two elements that are inside of the sun, the helium and hydrogen. And throughout the one becomes the other. There is this energy that is floating around, and that's how the life is supported. Without that light, we don't have nothing. The light in the soul, it represents inside of him, so he can go ahead and give the light into her. But there is something magically here. It's about the butterfly. Why on earth the butterfly is right there? The butterfly actually represents this power of creation. It also represents the vagina. That is the part when the creation, the power of the creation begins. This is the part of the seed when the seed goes in and gives the birth to something new. And this is what that something new, that twin flame union brings. This is the part of, if you look at it up here, the winds and the protections of it are coming in from the bottom, which is to protect the union, to protect this perfect part of union that exists within the individuals on it. And my advice to you is stop fighting your twin inside of you. Stop blaming this part. Stop blaming these positions out of it. This is not going to help you. I've been talking to people, a lot of the people, they have those fights for years and years and years. Silence is one of them. like you want to silence this part. You can't silence that part. That part is part of you. And a lot of the twin flames, they like, I'm waking up and I'm feeling him or I'm feeling her. Well, of course you do. They're part of you now. You like it or don't like it. You want it, you don't want it. That's how the universe works. This is about you to understand the journey is a journey. And it's not about the man-made marriage. It is about the universe, uh, soulmate, not soulmate, soulmate uh, marriages. It is what it is. You have to go ahead and get that acceptance inside of you, and when you accept them in full, that battles of the ego and the soul level will will stop, and you're gonna be looking up for this piece. I hope that video helps you out. I will be looking at the comments when I get a chance to it, but there is so many things that I have to look at right now. I was also want to thank you for watching this video, and be love.